I never imagined I would be in this situation, but I need to share what happened. I, 28F, have always had a complicated relationship with my sister Carol, 32F. Our family history is pretty messy. Our dad walked out when I was 5 and Carol was 9, leaving our mom to raise us alone. Mom worked 3 jobs just to keep food on the table, which meant Carol ended up taking care of me most of the time. She never misses a chance to remind me about this, like I somehow owe her my entire life because of it. Growing up was tough. Carol developed this need to control everything around her, probably because she had to be the responsible one so young. But as we got older, it got worse. She would monitor what I ate, who I talked to at school, and even try to choose my college major. When I decided to become a nurse instead of following her suggestion to go into business like her, she took it as a personal insult. She told everyone who would listen that I was wasting my potential and embarrassing the family by choosing such a low-paying career. The tension between us reached new heights when Carol met Sebastian, 35M, 3 years ago. Sebastian comes from old money. His family owns half the businesses in our small town, including some medical practices. From day one, he looked at our family like we were beneath him. But instead of defending us, Carol changed. She started copying his mannerisms, looking down on everything about our upbringing, and constantly bragging about their wealthy lifestyle. She even started making fun of Mom's accent, something she used to defend Mom for when we were kids. Their wedding 2 years ago was a nightmare. Carol insisted I had to be her maid of honor because what would people think if her only sister wasn't? But she made the entire experience miserable. She criticized my weight, saying I needed to lose 20 pounds to fit her vision. She scheduled dress fittings during my hospital shifts and then cried to Mom when I couldn't make it. When I finally stood up for myself and said I needed more notice for appointments, she spread rumors to the whole bridal party that I was trying to ruin her wedding out of jealousy. Things got even more intense when Carol announced her pregnancy 6 months ago. She immediately appointed herself the queen of all pregnant women and expected everyone to bow to her demands. She would call me at 3 a.m. after my night shifts to discuss baby names or send me 50 messages about nursery themes while I was working in the ICU. When I didn't respond immediately, she would call our mom crying about how unsupportive I was being. Last month, everything escalated. Carol decided she needed help painting the nursery, but it had to be done on her schedule. I had just finished 6 night shifts in a row and was exhausted. When I asked if we could do it the following weekend instead, she completely lost it. She started screaming about how I never supported her, how I was jealous of her perfect life, and how I was trying to ruin her pregnancy experience. She called Mom, who then spent hours lecturing me about family duty and how I needed to step up for my sister. I tried explaining to Mom that I was physically exhausted and could be a danger working on ladders in that state, but she brushed it off. Mom has always enabled Carol's behavior, probably out of guilt for being absent during our childhood. Every time Carol throws a tantrum, Mom rushes to fix it, usually by pressuring me to give in to whatever Carol wants. The real explosion happened 2 weeks ago. Carol organized this elaborate gender reveal party, even though she had already announced it was a boy. I was scheduled for a critical care shift that day and we were severely understaffed due to a flu outbreak. There was no way I could switch. When I told Carol, she showed up at my apartment at 6 a.m., still in her pajamas, screaming and banging on my door. My neighbors called security, but before they arrived, Carol had forced her way into my apartment. She was like a hurricane, knocking things over, throwing my framed nursing degree against the wall, and screaming that I was a jealous, bitter person who couldn't stand to see her happy. She knocked over my coffee table, breaking my laptop that had all my patient notes on it. When security finally removed her, she was still screaming that I was trying to sabotage the happiest time of her life. 3 days after this incident, Carol had a miscarriage. I was devastated when I heard the news. Despite everything, I never wanted anything bad to happen to her or her baby. I tried calling her, sent flowers to the hospital, and even tried to visit, but Sebastian blocked me at the door. Then the messages started coming. First from Carol, then Sebastian, then their friends and our family. All saying the same thing, that I had caused so much stress by not attending her gender reveal party that I was responsible for her losing the baby. The accusations kept getting worse. Carol told people I had wished death on her baby because I was jealous of her fertility. She claimed I had deliberately worked extra shifts to avoid her pregnancy milestones because I couldn't stand her happiness. Sebastian started sending threatening messages about how his family would make sure I never worked in any hospital in the state again. Our entire extended family has turned against me. My mom won't speak to me except to say how disappointed she is. Our aunts and cousins have blocked me on social media, and I keep seeing posts about toxic family members and karma. The only person still talking to me is my cousin Penny, 25F, who is always seen through Carol's manipulation tactics. My coworkers have started hearing rumors. Someone apparently overheard Sebastian telling one of the hospital board members about how I emotionally abused my pregnant sister. I love my job and my patients, but I'm terrified of losing everything I've worked for because of these lies. I know medically that missing a party cannot cause a miscarriage, but no one seems to care about facts anymore. They're all caught up in Carol's narrative of being the victim of her cruel, jealous sister. I don't know how to fight these accusations without seeming defensive, but I also don't know how to just sit back and watch my life be destroyed. Update 1: I honestly did not think things could get worse, but somehow Carol has managed to take her vendetta against me to a whole new level. The past 2 weeks have been absolute hell, and I need to share what happened. First, Carol created a Facebook page called Pregnancy Loss Awareness, My Sister's Betrayal. She posted a long, detailed account of how I supposedly sabotaged her pregnancy through emotional abuse and deliberate stress. She included photos of herself in the hospital after the miscarriage, screenshots of texts where I said I couldn't make it to her events, completely out of context, and even childhood photos of us with captions about how I was always jealous of her. The page gained over 5,000 followers in just a few days. Carol joined several pregnancy loss support groups and mommy groups in our area, sharing her twisted version of events. She painted herself as this loving sister who just wanted to include me in her joy, while portraying me as some sort of monster who deliberately caused her miscarriage out of spite. She even claimed I had laughed when she told me about her pregnancy complications, which never happened. Last Tuesday, Carol took things to an extreme I never thought possible. She organized what she called a protest for pregnancy loss awareness outside my hospital. She showed up with about 15 women, all wearing matching white t-shirts with baby angel wings printed on the back and Stop Family Abuse on the front. They held signs with slogans like Justice for Baby M and Sisters Who Kill with my full name clearly visible. Some of the signs had my photo on them. They stood outside for nearly 6 hours, stopping people going into the hospital to tell them about me. A local news van even showed up, though thankfully they didn't run the story. Several of my patients' family saw the protest, and one even requested a different nurse. The whole time, Carol was live streaming on her Facebook page, crying about how I wouldn't even come out to face her and apologize. My supervisor, Janet, called me into her office during my shift. She was understanding but concerned. While she said she doesn't believe Carol's accusations, the protest had caught the attention of the hospital board. The hospital has been getting negative reviews online from Carol's supporters, and some people are calling for my termination. Janet warned me that while my job is secure for now, I should start documenting everything Carol does in case we need legal protection. But the worst development came yesterday. I discovered that Carol had been secretly recording our phone conversations for months before the miscarriage. She created a video compilation of edited clips and posted it online. In these recordings, she removed all context and her own screaming, only including snippets of me saying things like "I can't deal with this right now" or "you need to stop calling me at work." She even edited together different conversations to make it sound like I said I didn't care about her pregnancy. Sebastian's family is now fully involved in the situation. His mother, Patricia, sits on the boards of 3 hospitals in our area and is apparently a major donor to several medical facilities. She has been calling around, telling people that employing me is a liability. I overheard 2 nurses discussing how their friend at another hospital was told not to consider my application. My contract is up for renewal next month, and Janet hinted that there might be budget cuts in my department. The only person who was still supporting me was my cousin Penny. She tried to defend me at a family dinner last weekend, telling everyone about how Carol had always been manipulative. Instead of listening, Carol retaliated in the cruelest way possible. She revealed to the entire family that Penny had an abortion 3 years ago, something Penny had confided in Carol during a particularly vulnerable time. Penny was devastated. Her parents are extremely religious and have now kicked her out of their house. She called me crying, saying she can't help me anymore because she has to focus on her own crisis. My mom finally broke her silence, but not to support me. She called to say that the only way to fix this situation is for me to publicly apologize to Carol and admit that my actions contributed to her losing the baby. When I refused, saying I wouldn't apologize for something I didn't do, she lost it. She told me I was no longer welcome at any family events until I take full responsibility for my actions. She said my stubbornness was tearing the family apart, just like when I was a teenager and refused to give Carol my college fund. The stress is starting to affect my work. Last week, I almost gave a patient the wrong medication dosage. I caught myself in time, but it scared me. I've lost 12 pounds in the last 2 weeks, and my hands shake constantly. My friends say I look like a ghost of myself, but I don't know how to fix this. I've started looking at job listings in other cities, even though the thought of leaving my patients breaks my heart. But with Sebastian's family blacklisting me from local hospitals, what choice do I have? Update 2: A lot has happened since my last update, and some shocking truths have come to light. I'm still processing everything that I learned, but I need to share these developments. Last week, a nurse named Rachel transferred to our hospital from Riverside Women's Clinic, where Carol received her prenatal care. She recognized me from Carol's social media posts and approached me during lunch break. What she told me changed everything. According to Rachel, Carol had several serious risk factors that were identified early in her pregnancy. Her blood pressure was consistently high, and there were some concerning test results at her first appointment. The doctor had specifically warned her about the risks and gave her strict instructions: no strenuous activity, limited stress, bed rest when possible, and regular medication. But Carol ignored all of it. Rachel showed me redacted copies of Carol's medical records. I know this probably wasn't legal, but I am grateful she took the risk. The records showed that Carol missed half of her scheduled appointments. She skipped crucial blood pressure checks and ignored repeated warnings about her activities. Instead of following the recommended bed rest, she was planning elaborate parties and events, moving furniture for the nursery, and even went skiing with Sebastian's family. The most disturbing part was that Carol knew exactly how serious her condition was. The doctors had explained the risks multiple times. There were detailed notes about counseling sessions where they stressed the importance of following medical advice. But Carol kept this information from everyone, including Sebastian. She never once mentioned these complications when she was blaming me for causing her stress. While I was still processing this information, I received an unexpected message from Sebastian's sister, Emily. She wanted to meet privately at a coffee shop outside of town. I was hesitant at first, but my curiosity won out. What Emily shared was equally shocking. According to Emily, Carol had been showing concerning behavior long before the pregnancy. She had systematically alienated most of Sebastian's friends through manipulation and dramatic scenes. She accused Sebastian's best friend of hitting on her, causing a rift in a 15-year friendship. She told Sebastian's cousin that Sebastian had called her a gold digger, which was completely false. One by one, she had isolated Sebastian from people who might question her behavior. Emily revealed that Carol and Sebastian had been having serious marriage problems before the pregnancy. Sebastian had suggested couples counseling after Carol maxed out their credit cards on designer furniture. Carol responded by threatening to leave him and tell everyone he was abusive. The pregnancy happened right after this fight, and suddenly Sebastian felt trapped. The most revealing part was about the miscarriage itself. Emily was with Carol that day, and the truth was very different from what Carol told everyone. Carol had ignored her doctor's warnings and spent the day rearranging heavy nursery furniture, despite Emily offering to help or wait for others. When she started having symptoms, she delayed going to the hospital for hours because she was working on her social media posts about my supposed harassment. But here's where things get even more complicated. Yesterday, Carol announced that she's pregnant again. She made a long social media post about her rainbow baby and how she's terrified that my negative energy might affect this pregnancy too. She even started a fundraiser for pregnancy loss awareness, using my name in the description as an example of how family betrayal can cause tragedy. The family has rallied around her again. Mom called me in tears, begging me to stay away from Carol during this pregnancy. She said Carol is in a fragile state and my presence might trigger her trauma. Some relatives have even suggested I should move away until after the baby is born, just to be safe. I showed Mom the medical records Rachel gave me, trying to explain that Carol had hidden her complications and ignored medical advice. But Mom refused to even look at them. She said I was trying to blame the victim and that medical records don't show the whole story. She truly believes that emotional stress from me was the real cause, regardless of what doctors said. Sebastian seems to be completely under Carol's control now. Emily said he's afraid to disagree with anything Carol says because she threatens to keep him from the new baby. He's been sending aggressive messages to anyone who questions Carol's version of events, including Emily. Their parents have taken Carol's side too, saying the family needs to support her during this rainbow pregnancy no matter what. Update 3. I thought this would be my final update, but knowing Carol, there might be more drama ahead. Still, I wanted to share what happened in the last few months because things have changed significantly. After my last update, I accepted a position at a teaching hospital in a different state. The pay is better, and they even offered to help with relocation costs. I started my new job last month, and for the first time in a long time, I can breathe. The distance has been both freeing and eye-opening. Before I left, something unexpected happened. Rachel, the nurse who showed me Carol's medical records, went to the hospital administration with everything she knew. She risked her job to do the right thing. This triggered an internal investigation at Riverside Women's Clinic about patient care and record keeping. During this investigation, they discovered that Carol had been seeing multiple doctors, giving each different information about her medical history and pregnancy complications. The investigation revealed that Carol had lied about following up with specialists and had forged some documentation about her bed rest compliance. She had also been doctor shopping, getting different medications from different providers. When the clinic tried to contact her about these discrepancies, she started accusing them of medical negligence and threatening to sue. Sebastian finally saw through Carol's manipulation when she tried to blame their marriage counselor for causing stress during her second pregnancy. The counselor had simply suggested that Carol might benefit from individual therapy to deal with her pregnancy anxiety. Carol responded by creating multiple fake social media accounts to leave negative reviews about the counselor, claiming she was trying to break up their marriage. This was apparently Sebastian's breaking point. He filed for separation and reached out to apologize to me. He admitted that he had known about some of Carol's lies but had been too scared to confront her. She had threatened to abort the baby if he ever left her, and he felt trapped. He also revealed that Carol had been tracking my job applications and sending anonymous emails to potential employers to sabotage my chances. My mom found out the truth from Sebastian's parents, who finally showed her proof of Carol's behavior. But instead of acknowledging the manipulation, Mom suggested that we should all forgive Carol because she's struggling with mental health issues. She still thinks I should apologize to keep the peace, saying that Carol is fragile and needs family support now more than ever. The final straw came when Carol showed up at my going-away party at the hospital. She caused a scene in the parking lot, screaming that I was abandoning her during her high-risk pregnancy. When security approached her, she dramatically fell to the ground claiming they had pushed her. Unfortunately for her, everything was caught on the security cameras. The hospital gave me copies of the footage in case I ever need it for legal protection. I've decided to go completely no contact with most of my family. I blocked their numbers and social media accounts. It's not just about the accusations anymore, it's about years of enabling toxic behavior and manipulation. Penny is the only one who still has my new address, and she promised not to share it with anyone. My new life is slowly coming together. I have an apartment with a view of the city, co-workers who know nothing about my family drama, and I'm even thinking about going back to school for my nurse practitioner degree. The hospital here is supportive and has already talked about advancement opportunities. I still hear things about Carol through Penny. Apparently, her second pregnancy is progressing, but she's found new targets for her blame games. She's currently in a social media war with her obstetrician, claiming the doctor is discriminating against her because of her previous loss. I wish her and the baby well, but I can't be part of that circus anymore. Sometimes the biggest act of self-care is walking away from toxic family members, even when it hurts. I miss the idea of what our family could have been, but I don't miss the reality of what it was. For now, I'm focusing on building a life where I don't have to constantly defend myself against lies.